We continue to celebrate and honor Ernest Holmes on his birthday. Tonight we are going to hear one of his famous talks, The Cosmic Consciousness Experience, read by Dr. Ken Gordon, Dr. D. Jacqueline Edwards, Dr. Marilyn Leo, Deetra Johnson, and Dr. Edward Viljoen. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Also, be on the lookout as you exit this evening. We have a really sweet treat for you. Make sure you hear what I just said because it is really exciting. It's a sweet treat as you exit right here in the lobby. It's going to be set up there as we go on our way. And so to kick it off tonight, welcome Dr. Tracy Brown.
Hey, everybody. You know, so often when we talk about dates, we're talking about milestone publications or maybe some big event that happened. But today, as we celebrate and honor the birth date, the anniversary of the date of the birth of Dr. Ernest Holmes, we thought it would be really great to instead focus on a date that is a milestone in his personal experience. So, February 12th, 1959. Okay, I know, takes you back a little way, or maybe before some of you were even on this planet. But this date has come to be referred to as the cosmic consciousness experience that Ernest Holmes experienced that night. Now, I could tell you about the date and what happened, or I could assign you to go read Dr. George Bindel's version that so many of us are familiar with. But instead of telling you about it, and instead of giving you a homework assignment after 5 days of being at a conference, we thought it would be really cool if we experience together what it is like, or what it might have been like, to actually be exposed to the voice, the language, and the words that Ernest Holmes used. So breathe with me now. And using the power of imagination, I simply invite you to breathe, exhale where you are now, whatever city you are in, Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Indian Wells, or any city around the globe. Release what city you are in, and with your next breath, breathe yourself into Whittier, California. You don't have to know where Whittier, California is. You don't have to have ever been there. Using the power of imagination, imagine yourself in whatever Whittier, California seems like in your soul. And on the next exhale, release the room you are in, this beautiful ballroom or whatever room you are in your home or wherever you are viewing from. Release that room, and as you inhale, breathe yourself into Christ Church of Religious Science. Breathe. And as you continue to breathe, breathing even more deeply, I invite you to suspend time and space. And know that any limitation in your mind related to 1959, or any limitation your brain is creating related to 2022, just let it go. And agree with me that with every voice you hear, you go deeper and deeper and even more deeply into the experience, allowing yourself, your brain, your soul to allow the spaciousness between each voice to let it marinate and let the words move you. One more breath. So, welcome this evening. Isn't it been a great evening so far? We've already heard from several really esteemed speakers who I know have inspired you. Dr. William Hornaday, I'm sure you got a lot out of his comments. And Dr. Mark Carpenter, didn't you love what he had to share with us as we dedicate our new facility? And even the comments of Dr. Barkley Johnson. Yeah, I know I was really moved by how important this occasion is. But on behalf of our minister, Reverend Raina Lady Smith, and our board president, Mr. William Hart, I am so delighted to bring you someone who needs no introduction. The founder of religious science, the author of the Science of Mind textbook, our guide for this faith, this philosophy, and this way of life is here to help us and to join us as we dedicate Christ Church of Religious Science. Dr. Ernest Holmes.
I have the keenest personal interest in such an occasion as this, and the most impersonal interest in that I love it personally, and I don't feel that it has anything to do with me at all, other than that it is a certain phenomenon which is taking place in my day and which I have the privilege of being some part of. Tolstoy in War and Peace, which is still called the best 6 novels ever written by all the writers, said that any person today who appears to do anything worthwhile probably has the least of anyone of his age to do it with. He is merely something, an instrumentality that the principle of evolution probably leaves upon the shores of time to see what will happen. If it happens, he has the opportunity of being one who appeared to help. If it doesn't happen, he goes out on the next tide, because only that which persists in evolution, finally, that which is worthy, can remain. As Tennyson said, so careful of the type, it seems, so careless of the single life. Our movement grows and expands very rapidly, I think, as is possible, because we would not wish to mistake its end and purpose, which is not the building of churches, it's not the dedicating of churches, it is what happens in them after they are built and after they are dedicated. It's what happens where there are groups of people in our conviction who meet together for the only 2 purposes for which we exist, teaching and practice. We have many orators in our midst, such as Barkley Johnson and Bill Hornaday and others here, but that isn't enough. What happens? For as Shakespeare said, a man may smile and be a villain still. So we could profess and confess and exclaim and proclaim that God is all there is, and no one would believe us unless something happens when we say it.
We are a teaching and a practicing order in the Christian faith who believe in 2 great fundamental realities: the divine presence, personal to every living soul and uniquely personal to each and every one of us. That's the first great cornerstone. The next is a power for good and the law of good in the universe, greater than we are, that we can use for definite and specific purposes. The first one, everyone believes in. The second proposition, probably about 20 million people in this country now believe in, somewhat. And that 200,000 of them really know what it is that they believe in? I doubt it. It is our endeavor through our educational system to teach people what this principle is and how to use it. And there is a growing conviction in my mind that it should and must become the endeavor of all of our leaders to exercise some kind of a discipline over their membership, not as to their theology, because I'm the world's worst theologian. I don't even know who wrote the books of the Old Testament, and I'm sure I don't care. I don't know what kind of underwear the apostles wore, but I'm sure it's worn out. And most of their beliefs are too. They did not have electric lights or automobiles. They didn't know how to make pancakes, and I doubt very much that they had very much understanding of what Jesus had taught them. That is not our endeavor, to convert someone of our faith. It is to prove something, first of all to ourselves, then to the world. And we have no authority before the world and should ask for none and will have none ever, I hope, other than the authority of the work that follows the word. Should we become the most prosperous organization in the world and build temples that would make Taj Mahal jealous and blush with shame, we should have become the most dismal failure in the entire history of the evolution of humanity's concept of God. It is not at all strange that the time should have come, and it happened to come in our time. And we happen to be those through whom and to whom it came. How fortunate we are.
How lucky are you and I that we are here tonight? Oh, we are indeed favored among all people on earth of all ages. Why? We have taken this banner that Jesus resigned when he said to the thief beside him, "Do not be afraid. Today shall be with you in paradise." It's quite a banner. It is with this banner that we advance and advance from chaos and the night. We are a teaching order, not a preaching order. We are a practicing order, not a proselytizing order. And the world has waited long and too often vainly for something to happen, for some healing power of unseen magic of the Spirit to be evidenced at the cornerstone. When I was a kid, I knew people who had oxen. That was a long time ago. I did meet somebody down at John Hefferlin's church last night, and he said he admired me so much And he said, "You are so much like another friend of mine. He is 92. And I said, "Well, I'm still holding my own. As long as I don't slip backward, everything's going to be great." But I had something stirring inside of me, what they call a restless foe. I would like to get one thing done without getting another started that's a little bigger than the other thing. Or else you are slipping back.
You know, we haven't yet done what I believe we should do with our membership. Now we're here tonight to dedicate a church, a physical building. I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a miracle, but I know why it is here. It's here because you're here, and because Dr. Raina Smith is here, and because your consciousness and hers and Bill's and all of you wonderful people out here have cleaved together, and what happened? Power, like the weaving of a rope, where one strand will hold no weight, but united, it will hold terrific weight. We have yet to see what the multiplied consciousness of a church body can do if they are properly trained, if they permit someone to exercise an authority over them, not of their theology, for which I wouldn't give a nickel anyway, not for their private lives, which are no one's business but their own, but of one thing only. There is a law of good. There is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And it will multiply its effect 1,000 times, in my belief, through the united consciousness of a group.
I have had so much inward conviction about this the last year, and the members of the Ministers' Association know about it, that I know, as I know that I am here, that you are right here under the leadership of your most inspired leader, who has balanced the human and the divine equation so that God and human unite on earth. I know that you are going to prove this. I know that you will, because of what has happened here. Let me tell you this. There are many wonderful religions in the world. We are not better than the others. We are not more spiritual. We are not more evolved. We are not more anything other than this one thing. We have co-joined our consciousness with the eternal verity of the universe, that everlasting and eternal power of all life, and the creator of all creation, forever begetting the only begotten, is begetting itself in us right now. And that the word of our mouth is a word of truth in such degree as it emulates and embodies the truth which sanctifies the word to its unique service of healing, not only the sick, but the poor in heart. We are dedicated to the concept that the pure in heart shall see God here, that the meek will inherit the earth now, that one with truth is a majority, that every one of us in the secret place of the Most High, within the center of their own consciousness, has the secret that the eternal, the everlasting, the almighty, and the ineffable God and I are one. And I see you doing this. And I see you uniting in one great hymn of praise, one great union of effort, one crescendo of song, and one enveloping light of consciousness. I see it. Oh God, the veil is thin between. We do mingle with the hosts of heaven. I see it, and I shall speak no more. At this point, witnesses agree that Dr. Holmes seemed to stagger slightly, and he returned to his chair. The event was not disclosed for a long time and was not even committed to writing until 11 years after Dr. Holmes passed away on April 7th, 1960. Reflecting upon this event and what Dr. Holmes said in his writings, I cannot but imagine that he would want us to think of him and this experience not as the great exception, but as the great example. Indeed, in our statement of belief, he said this: "We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling Spirit." Shall I read that again? We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling Spirit. I must read it again. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through your intuitive and spiritual nature, and that you are a revealer of truth because you live in close contact with the indwelling Spirit. Let this then be our charge until we see each other again, to live in close, personal contact with the indwelling Spirit, that we may be what? Revealers of truth. So close, the contact through our spiritual practice, that the veil between is thin, and that we see the truth of our being. So I invite you to say these words after me. I am a revealer of truth. Perhaps place your hand on your chest as a symbol of your connection to your heart, your consciousness of oneness, and say after me, I am a revealer of truth. And breathe in with me and feel it. And say again one more time with me, I am a revealer of truth. And so it is.